Clearing a tough JRPG is like a badge of honor, and today we're diving into the realm of uncovering the toughest challenges ever faced in the JRPG genre. As we count down together the 10 hardest JRPGs of all time, you'll discover how many badges you've earned in your gaming journey or uncover a new adventure waiting to be embarked upon. Let's go ahead and get started with the first game on the list, Fire Emblem Thracia 776. Fire Emblem Thracia 776 is easily viewed as one of the hardest games in the Fire Emblem series. Thracia 776 introduces several gameplay mechanics not seen in previous Fire Emblem games, such as fatigue, capturing, and fog of war. With fatigue, each action a unit takes, such as attacking or using a magic attack, increases their fatigue. Once a unit's fatigue has reached a certain threshold, they'll become fully fatigued and cannot participate in battles until they rest. The fog of war maps obscure your vision beyond a certain range, which makes it difficult to see enemy units and obstacles until they're in close proximity. This adds an element of uncertainty and challenge to the gameplay, as you must carefully plan your way when navigating through the map and anticipate enemy movements without full knowledge of your surroundings. Resources such as gold, weapons, and healing items are also scarce. You're gonna have to carefully manage your resources and plan your actions accordingly, as running out of those essential items can leave you at a severe disadvantage. Thracia 776 features intricate map design and varied terrains and enemy placements, forcing you to predict your opponent's next movements. Thracia 776 also has a lower stat cap compared to other Fire Emblem games, meaning the characters could not become as powerful as they could in other entries. This places a greater emphasis on strategy and tactics rather than just brute force. So an example would be in maybe other Fire Emblem games, you can level up your characters to where they're way higher than what you should be at within the story and just brute force everything because you're so strong. Since those stat caps are lowered, even if you level up your characters higher than your current map in the story, they're not going to be as strong to just brute force everything. It's still going to be a challenge. Thracia 776 also has a large cast of characters, and managing them effectively was very challenging when playing this game. You had to decide which characters to deploy in each chapter, as well as how to distribute experience and resources amongst them. The difficulty ramps up quickly, especially in the earlier chapters. You can find yourself facing tough situations with limited resources and options, requiring careful planning and sometimes trial and error to overcome. On top of all this is the permadeath mechanic, where if a character is defeated in battle, they're permanently removed from any future battles and the story. So it's very easy to see how this can be a very brutal game to clear. A lot of games on this list are going to be turn-based, but Weiss Oath of Felghana is an action-based JRPG. The combat in Weiss is fast-paced and requires quick reflexes and precise timing to dodge enemy attacks and deliver effective counterattacks. You'll need to master the game's combat mechanics, including invasive maneuvers and well-timed strikes to overcome challenging enemies and bosses. Boss battles in particular require careful observation of attack patterns and strategic use of skills and items to emerge victorious. Some boss battles in certain sections of the game also have time challenges, which imposes a time pressure, forcing you to make decisions at a fast pace. Like most games on this list, healing items are extremely limited, so you're gonna have to carefully manage your inventory and use them strategically to survive encounters with tough enemies and bosses. Running out of healing items can leave you in a very vulnerable state and make progression through the game even more difficult. The world is filled with hazardous traps, obstacles that can catch you at the worst times while exploring the environment. Some areas in the game feature environmental hazards such as spikes, traps, and crumbling platforms, so you're gonna have to navigate all of these hazards carefully to avoid taking damage or falling to your deaths. Save points are scarce as well, meaning that if you die, you're gonna have to find yourself backtracking significant distances or re-clearing things you've already done since you hadn't had a chance to save. This is gonna punish you for making any types of mistakes. It encourages you to play cautiously. If you're enjoying the list so far, I really would appreciate it if you help me get this video to 100 likes and consider subscribing to the channel. I have tons of JRPG content like the one you're watching right now, so you won't regret it, but let's get back into the video. Shin Megami Tensei is known for being an unforgiving franchise and the only series with 2 games on this list with the hardest of JRPGs of all time. The first is Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, which is a step above other SMT games in terms of difficulty. SMT 3 Nocturne's difficulty arises from its challenging battles, complex demon fusion system, limited resources, moral choices, intricate dungeons, punishing boss encounters, and minimal guidance and hand-holding through the process. SMT 3 Nocturne features demanding battles where strategic planning and execution is crucial. Enemies can also exploit weaknesses and perform devastating attacks, and even negotiate with or ambush you, making every encounter a potentially lethal encounter. The game's intricate demon fusion system requires you to carefully manage and combine demons to create stronger allies. Experimenting with fusion is necessary to succeed, but mistakes can result in weaker or unsuitable party members. Resources such as health restoring items and mana restoring items are scarce, forcing you to reserve them for critical moments. Dungeons in SMT 3 Nocturne are filled with traps, puzzles, and powerful enemies. Bosses are also going to be notoriously difficult, requiring you to have to exploit their weakness and adapt strategies on the fly, which leads to extended battles that are going to be lengthy and a long battle of attrition. Success hinges and optimizing party composition and tactics. As I mentioned earlier, SMT 3 Nocturne offers minimal guidance, leaving you to explore and discover the world and its mechanics without any hand-holding at all. It's gonna be a figured out, sink or swim type of experience. SMT 3 Nocturne also presents you with morally ambiguous choices that impact the game's narrative and even the game's difficulty. Decisions affect which factions you align with, influencing available resources, allies, and challenges within the game. Very early on, you're gonna have to choose a faction to align with. Each has its own vision of the new world and determines which ending you will pursue. Aligning with one faction may grant access to certain demons, abilities, or story path, but it also closes off others. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor is the second installment from the SMT franchise on this list. Devil Survivor was the first tactical JRPG in the SMT franchise, which caught many fans by surprise by not being familiar with the genre and the intense difficulty that it brought. Devil Survivor features a time management system where you have to carefully plan your actions with limited time frames, similar to other Persona games and Atlas games just in general from that SMT Persona franchise. Each day is divided into segments during which you can explore the game's world, engage in battles, or interact with characters. Decisions made during these time segments can have significant consequences, so you're going to have to prioritize your objectives and manage that time efficiently. Combat is going to be grid-based, requiring positioning to exploit your enemy's weaknesses and minimize damage to your party. The game's difficulty escalates as you encounter stronger enemies and bosses with unique abilities and attack patterns fairly early in the game. Like other SMT games, Devil Survivor features a demon fusion system where you can combine demons to create powerful allies. Additionally, you're going to have to manage your party's skill set to ensure that you have access to a diverse range of abilities to counter different types of enemy weaknesses that you experience. Devil Survivor also offers a branching storyline and multiple endings based on your choices throughout the game. Like SMT 3 Nocturne, these choices affect which characters join your party, which factions you align with, and ultimately the ending which you achieve. You're gonna have to carefully consider your decisions and the consequences that come with them, as some of these choices may lead to unexpected challenges or even alter the game's difficulty curve. Resources such as in-game currency and skill cracking opportunities, which are used to obtain new skills for demons, are very limited. In addition to winning battles, you often have secondary objectives to complete within each time segment, such as rescuing civilians, defeating specific enemies, or reaching certain locations within a limited number of turns. Balancing these objectives with the primary goal of survival adds an extra layer of challenge to the gameplay. Etrian Odyssey recently received a remastered edition bundling all 3 games into one package, ideal for those seeking a challenging adventure. True to form, Etrian Odyssey, much like its counterparts on this list, doesn't hold your hand. Some argue that a lot of these games are difficult by poor game design and no hand-holding, which is a big argument because okay, is this intentional or was this accidental? But regardless, a lot of these games have very similar things in common when it comes to limited resources, not holding your hand, and increased difficulty spikes. Etrian Odyssey provides minimal guidance, leaving you to explore and discover the game's mechanics and strategies on your own. Mapping out the dungeon is a core aspect of gameplay, as you must manually chart the terrain using the game's mapping system. Making mistakes in mapping, such as missing hidden passages or misjudging distances, can lead to getting lost or encountering dangerous enemies over and over and over as you try and figure out your way to your destination. Mapping is not just a cosmetic feature also. It's essential to gameplay, and you're gonna have to master this to successfully clear the game. Etrian Odyssey also offers deep character customization options, allowing you to create your party members with unique classes, skills, and abilities. However, with no guidance or hand-holding, this also means that you're going to have to carefully plan and optimize your party composition to overcome challenges and make sure that you're not exploring something and doing something strategic and then it doesn't work and you kind of set yourself up for failure over and over and over. The 7th Saga is an old school game highly regarded as one of the most difficult JRPGs ever. Battles in the 7th Saga can be brutal, with enemies dealing significant damage and possessing powerful abilities. You must carefully strategize your actions, including when to use which skills, when to heal, or when to conserve resources. The game has a significantly high encounter rate as opposed to other games, meaning that you're gonna frequently encounter enemies while exploring dungeons and overworld areas. Constant battles can quickly wear down your party and deplete its resources, making progression through the game even more challenging. On top of all of that, enemy encounters in the 7th Saga are randomized, meaning that you may encounter enemies significantly stronger than your party. This adds an element of unpredictability to the game, as you're forced to prepare for formidable foes at any time. Additionally, it can make progression feel more difficult, especially if you're encountering strong enemies before you're adequately prepared. There's also a complex stat system that determines the effectiveness of your characters in battle. You must fully understand how different stats such as strength, agility, and intelligence affect your character's abilities and optimize your party composition accordingly. Additionally, the game's leveling system can be slow, requiring you to engage in extensive grinding to improve your character's stats and abilities. Randomized enemy stats with a high encounter rate and minimal resources. Hey, you can easily see how this game earns its reputation as probably one of the hardest JRPGs of all time. The Last Remnant features a complex and unconventional battle system that can be difficult to fully grasp and understand initially. Battles are large scale and feature multiple units on both sides, with the focus on unit formation, positioning, and command coordination. Unlike traditional JRPGs where you control each party member directly, The Last Remnant gives you control over unions, which are a group of characters. This lack of direct control over individual units can make battle feel very chaotic and unpredictable. Morale also plays a significant role in combat, affecting the effectiveness of units and unions. Morale is influenced by factors such as unit performance, enemy actions, and battlefield conditions. Having a high morale boosts the union's stats and increases the likelihood of performing critical attacks, while low morale could, on the opposite end of that spectrum, decrease effectiveness and leave you vulnerable to enemy attacks. The game has a steep learning curve with many gameplay mechanics and systems to master. This includes unit formation, combat arts, weapon customization, and union management. There are several points with unpredictable difficulty spikes where you may encounter sudden challenges that require careful planning and preparation to overcome. These difficulty spikes can catch you off guard and result in unexpected defeat if you're not adequately prepared. The game provides limited guidance, leaving you to explore and discover the mechanics on your own, similar to other games on this list. Final Fantasy Tactics is viewed as the best tactical JRPG of all time for several reasons, but that high regard does come with very high difficulty. Battles in Final Fantasy Tactics are going to be grid-based, requiring strategic thinking to succeed. You have to consider many factors such as unit positioning, terrain advantage, and enemy formations when planning your actions. Battles can be intense, long, and demanding, with enemies often employing advanced tactics and powerful abilities to challenge you strategically and mentally. Final Fantasy Tactics features permadeath for your characters, so if a unit falls in battle, they're permanently removed from the game along with any progression or abilities that they've acquired. This adds an extra layer of challenge and consequence to battles, and you're going to have to carefully consider your actions and decisions to avoid losing valuable party members. The game has a steep learning curve, especially for those new to tactical JRPGs, and understanding the nuances of the job system, combat mechanic, and battle strategies does take time and practice, so you may struggle initially to grasp the game's complexities, even if you are a seasoned tactical RPG player. The game also features a deep, intricate job system with numerous classes and abilities for characters to master. You must carefully plan and strategize your party composition, job assignments, and ability combinations to create a team effective for battles. Random encounters in the game can occur at any time while traveling the world map, and these encounters can vary in difficulty and often present unexpected challenges. Additionally, the game features scaling difficulty, with enemies levels being adjusted to match your party's strength, ensuring that every counter remains challenging throughout the game, no matter how overleveled you become. Vagrant Story is unique due to the combat system, which combines real-time action with tactical elements. You need to master timing, positioning, and combo attacks to effectively defeat your enemies. The battle system involves you chaining different attacks known as chain abilities to achieve large combos and deal damage to enemies. This is done by pressing buttons in a timely succession, making combat resemble a rhythm game. You must carefully manage the risk bar during battle to balance the benefits of having high risk with the potential drawbacks. Risk points affect Ashley's concentration. The longer Ashley attacks a target, the more his risk accumulates, lowering his accuracy and defense. The advantage though of having higher risk, however, is there's a higher chance for you to score critical hits and restore higher HP. The detailed weapon customization system allows you to create and modify your weapon. While this provides flexibility and customization options, it also requires you to invest time and resources into optimizing your gear to tackle the tougher challenges. Healing options are limited, and you have to rely a lot on items or special abilities to restore health during battles. Additionally, save points are going to be very scarce, and you often have to traverse long stretches of dangerous areas without the ability to save your progress, increasing the stakes of exploration and combat. The game has a very detailed level design with puzzles and traps and hidden passages that you're going to have to worry about navigating. Some puzzles can be challenging to solve, requiring careful observation and experimentation. The wide range of enemies, each with unique abilities and attack patterns, can make each enemy just as dangerous as the last. Scarlet Saga offers a non-linear progression system, allowing you to choose your path and tackle challenges in different orders. While this provides freedom and flexibility, it also means that you may encounter tough enemies and situations way earlier than expected. The battle system is a steep learning curve if you've never played a Saga game before. Your party is arranged in different formations, which impact their abilities and tactics. Depending on the amount of available BP, different actions can be taken, and those characters who cannot be assigned a move skip that turn. During battle, players' and enemies' actions are displayed along the bottom of the screen, which is known as the timeline. Each party member has HP and LP, which are going to be life points and health points. HP can be replenished in battle using items and a variety of healing magic, but LP cannot be replenished unless a party member is not in battle. Once a character's LP is depleted, they cannot be used in battle, with LP recovering at a rate of 1 LP every 2 battles complete. LP can be restored in town in exchange for materials, but you can see that this system provides like another element and gauge that you have to manage because you don't want to be caught with your strongest unit having no LP. The free scenario system emphasizes your choices and consequences, allowing you to make decisions that impact the game's storyline and the world. The choices you make during quests and interactions with NPCs can have far-reaching effects, influencing character relationships, faction alignments, and ultimately the outcome of the game. All of these games can be extremely challenging, but if you're looking for something a little less difficult but still thoughtful, I'll have a video right here going over the best modern tactical JRPGs you can find in 2024. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.